When world-renowned humanitarian chef José Andrés recently turned down an invitation to appear in Meghan Markle's upcoming Netflix series with Love, Meghan, it wasn't just a simple scheduling conflict, it was a calculated and resounding no. To what some insiders call a performative publicity stunt wrapped in a royal narrative. Behind the polished lens of Netflix cameras and Markle's glossy brand of compassion lies a growing unease among public figures, many of whom are beginning to distance themselves from what they see as a self-serving campaign masquerading as philanthropy. Andrés' decision is particularly notable given his history of global humanitarian work. As the founder of World Central Kitchen, Andrés has spent decades delivering meals to disaster zones, war-torn nations, and communities devastated by climate change and poverty. Unlike Markle, who often finds herself photographed while engaging in highly curated charitable events, Andrés' work is deeply entrenched, hands-on, and notably devoid of the press-centric fanfare that follows the Duchess of Sussex. Sources close to the situation say Andrés was approached by Markle's team earlier this year to participate in a segment highlighting global compassion and culinary diplomacy. But according to an insider familiar with the proposal, Chef Andrés felt the project lacked authenticity. He didn't want to lend his name to something that appeared to be more about brand building than real impact. This refusal raises questions about the sincerity of Markle's latest media venture, which critics argue is another attempt to rehabilitate her public image rather than make meaningful contributions to society. This isn't the first time Meghan Markle has faced criticism for mixing charity with personal PR. Her Archetypes podcast, also produced with Spotify before their partnership dissolved, received lukewarm reviews and was later accused of featuring staged interviews. Even Spotify executive Bill Simmons blasted the couple, calling them grifters in a widely shared podcast episode. It seems Andrés, like Simmons, may have recognized a pattern in the Sussexes' dealings, projects cloaked in idealism but executed with a clear agenda for visibility and control over their narrative. Moreover, Meghan's relationship with the media has always been complicated. From her controversial tell-all interview with Oprah Winfrey to her ongoing estrangement from the British royal family, her actions often seem to stir more division than unity. In this light, Chef Andrés' refusal becomes more than just a personal choice. It signals growing fatigue among influential figures tired of being co-opted into the Markle media machine. Andrés' integrity stands in stark contrast to what critics call Meghan's calculated brand of compassion. While he serves food to earthquake survivors in Haiti or builds community kitchens in war zones, Markle's gestures, like hugging schoolgirls in South Africa or planting flowers at a veterans memorial with a photographer in tow, often feel designed for maximum media exposure. One critic noted, "Meghan Markle wants the optics of humanitarianism, not the reality of it. José Andrés lives the reality. He doesn't need the cameras." Even more telling is Andrés' long-standing rapport with other world leaders and humanitarian organizations, many of whom continue to support his work because of its results, not because it's trending on social media. His deliberate step away from Meghan's project suggests a refusal to align his legacy with someone whose charitable record is increasingly being questioned. To be clear, Meghan Markle is within her rights to produce content that aligns with her vision. But when someone of José Andrés' moral stature steps away from a project so publicly, it forces a reevaluation of the intent behind that content. Was this series truly meant to elevate voices of compassion and change? Or was it crafted as yet another glittering stage for Markle to recast herself as a misunderstood heroine? As with Love, Meghan moves forward without Chef Andrés. One thing is certain, the absence of a true humanitarian voice in the series will be noticeable. And it may well serve as a silent protest against what many now see as a blurring of the lines between genuine altruism and self-promotion. Meghan Markle may still have a platform, but if figures like José Andrés continue to walk away, the credibility of that platform could begin to erode, one declined invitation at a time. And while Markle's defenders might argue that every celebrity faces criticism, the nature of this quiet boycott by respected humanitarians like Andrés is different. This isn't tabloid gossip or public bickering, it's a principled refusal from someone whose life work has earned him global respect. When such individuals distance themselves, it suggests something deeper, a lack of trust in Markle's motives and her capacity to foster genuine change without first calculating how it reflects on her image. Insiders familiar with Netflix's internal discussions report growing discomfort around the Duchess's creative direction. One source from the production team, speaking anonymously, admitted there have been concerns about the series being overly scripted and visually driven rather than cause-driven. It's not a critique of storytelling but of intent. And in a media landscape where authenticity is increasingly valued, Markle's approach may be running counter to the very audience she's trying to court. Moreover, Meghan's repeated attempts to position herself as a global humanitarian figure have often been undermined by inconsistencies in her actions. From high-profile interviews meant to reclaim her narrative to luxurious lifestyle choices that contrast sharply with the communities she claims to champion, a gap has emerged between image and impact. For a chef like Andres, whose work involves sleeping in tents and feeding war victims, this disconnect is likely too wide to ignore. As more credible voices opt out of her orbit, Meghan's influence risks becoming a hollow echo chamber of supportive PR, disconnected from the broader world of actual activism. Her platform, once brimming with potential, now faces an uncomfortable truth. Without the validation of people who truly embody the causes she aligns herself with, it may slowly lose both substance and relevance.